4 a.m. Konoha. 1 week has passed and Tsunade sent Senduru and his squad on their mission. As she rested her head in a hand and tapped the desk with the other, she thought about her son and Naruto. Tsunade was disturbed from her thoughts when the door to her office opened. "Hey, Lady Tsunade, I figured I'd get you some coffee to keep you awake." Tsunade smiled at Shizune's kindness. "Thank you, Shizune." Shizune sensed that her sensei was worried. "Lady Tsunade, are you sure that you're okay?" She nodded. "I'm fine, just worried about Senduru. Maybe I shouldn't have sent him on a mission so soon." Shizune sat at the edge of Tsunade's desk. "I think what you did was right. You gave him a mission with a low risk so he could get back in the swing of things. I gave him the mission because I didn't want him to have to fight impossibly." Tsunade couldn't bring herself to think about the last part. She forced herself away from her thoughts. "Yes, I guess you're right. Oh, I almost forgot. Are those the records for the Genins that passed the exam? I might as well assign the squads right now." Shizune handed Tsunade the folder she was holding. Tsunade opened the folder and started to look at the Genins and their special abilities. She came across the Rookie of the Year, Ranpu Hyuga. She gave his sheet a glance over, then turned to the next page to see the other students. Tsunade continued until she reached the last student. From what she could see, the boy had the lowest scores, which meant he was dead last. She already knew that he would be teamed up with the Hyuga without question. After looking at all of the other candidates, she had an idea on who would be assigned to the teams that she selected. Shizune gazed at Tsunade curiously. "Lady Tsunade, do you have an idea of the squads and their Jonin instructors?" She looked up from the book and nodded her head. "Yes, hold on. Let me write it down so you can take it to Aruka before his class meets." Tsunade handed Shizune the list. She then stood up to stretch her arms, followed by a yawn. I'm going home. I'll be back in my office at 9. Tell all of the Jonins to meet me there." Shizune spoke before the Hokage could take another step. "What about Senduru? How will he know what squad he will be assigned to?" "Don't worry about it. He should be back here by noon, which is around the time the squads meet their instructors. Tell whoever is on guard duty during that time to tell him to get to the academy ASAP. Also have them relay that his squad is Squad 4. Since that is all, I'm going home. You should come as well. The class doesn't start until 8, so you have 4 hours to kill. I suggest you get some sleep too," the Hokage suggested, hoping that her hardworking assistant would take her advice. Shizune thought about it for a second. It was a fact that she was up since 6 yesterday. Add to the fact that she was at the hospital from 3 in the afternoon to about 9 at night. She definitely had a long day. Tsunade exited the office with Shizune in tow, both heading home, with sleep on their brain. Fire country. Senduru and his squad went to bed around 8 last night and were now speeding towards Konoha. The week went by rather quickly and uneventfully. Other than the missing ninja that they encountered nothing else. The awkwardness between Kurenai and Senduru disappeared, but he couldn't help but wonder if it would return when they got back to Konoha. Izumo, who was now traveling on his right, spoke. "Hey Senduru, are you ready to become a Jonin instructor?" "Well, I don't know. I guess I'll find out," Senduru answered honestly. "You should be fine. It's not that hard at all. In fact, it's rather easy," Kurenai said to assure him that it would be okay. Senduru gave Kurenai a skeptical glance. Somehow I find that hard to believe. Since they were talking about Jonin instructors, Hanabi wondered who Kurenai's instructor was. "Kurenai, who was the instructor for your squad?" Senduru answered before she could. "Shikaku Nara." Hanabi gave him a question look. "How do you know that?" Kurenai responded. "'Cause he was my team member along with Asuma." Konohamaru snapped out of daydreaming when he heard Asuma's name. He listened as they continued their conversation. Kurenai spoke again. "Asuma, Senduru and I were under the tutelage of Shikaku Nara. He was a good instructor and he prepared us well." Hanabi spoke again. "Shikaku Nara, he's on the council with father, and I believe his son was under Asuma's tutelage. Am I correct?" Senjuru's eyes widened. "You're the daughter of Hiyashi?" Hanabi gave him a look as if it was the most obvious thing. "Yes, you didn't know that?" He just shook his head. "No, honestly, I thought Hiyashi had only one daughter by the name of Hinata Hyuga." "Well, just so you know, he has 2 daughters, and the one you just mentioned is my eldest sister," Hanabi informed him. Senduru glanced at Kurenai, who looked sad at the mention of the Hyuga girl. "Is there something wrong, Kurenai?" "No, everything is okay," she said, hoping he would leave it alone. Hanabi continued. What made you think he had only one daughter? The Hokage never mentioned that you were his daughter. I guess that's why. By the way, I haven't seen your sister yet. Where the heck is she? Sensor asked. She's in the hospital recovering from an injury. Under the special orders of the Hokage, no one is to visit her unless the Hokage says so, Hanabi informed the Jonin. Kurenai decided to add more. Also, Tsunade and Shizune are her personal physicians. I don't know how bad it is, but the Hokage only does that when no one else is qualified. That usually means that it's serious. Konohamaru sensed that Hanabi and Kurenai were going down a dark path, so he decided to lighten up the mood. Don't worry, I'm sure Hinata will be okay. She's the nicest person you've ever met, and bad things don't happen to nice people. Isn't that right, Udon? The glasses-wearing Chunin nodded in agreement. Moigi also nodded. Kurenai smiled, grateful that Hinata had people who thought she was nice. Konohamaru spoke again. I'm sure you'll get to see her soon, Kurenai. You too, Hanabi. Hanabi looked at him, then back to the front of her. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Konoha Academy, 5 hours later. Iruka walked into the classroom with a clipboard in his hand. Shizune gave him the list an hour ago. He looked at the Genins. He got quiet as soon as he walked into the room. He started to speak. Okay everyone, I'll start assigning teams, so listen for your name and your squad number. Squad 1. Iruka continued until he got up to Squad 4. Squad 4. Ranpu Hyuga, Akuru Mogami, and Makinyu Soshichu. Squad 5. He went on until he reached Squad 8. Squad 8. Yugan Fukansan, Niro Chobo, and Yasumi Kashira. Squad 9 will consist of Tashida Kabe, Futuke Jinsei, and Kiseki Netu. Once Iruka finished calling the squads, he addressed the group for the final time. I just want to say that I'm proud of you all. This is the day you will begin your training to become a ninja. This is only the beginning, and you all have a long way to go before you reach your goals. I hope all of you succeed and strive to be the best, not only for your sake, but also for the sake of Konoha and those you hold dear. All of you become great shinobi, and serve the leaf proudly. I would also like to inform you that the Jonin instructors will be here to pick you guys up this afternoon, so you guys have 3 hours to eat or do whatever it is. I expect you to be back here no later than noon to meet your instructors. I will see all of you at noon. Iruka left the classroom and headed to his office to do TD's paperwork. Tsunade was now fresh and ready for the rest of the day. As she sat at her desk with a crystal ball, the gathered Jonin were there, looking at their respective students. I can't wait to see how my team will be. That Futuki reminds me so much of myself. I'm kind of looking forward to this, Anko said with a smile gracing her lips. Yamato is looking at his group. That Yugan kid doesn't interact with his classmates much from what I've seen. In Iruka's notes, it said something about him liking quiet time or something like that, Tsunade informed the Jonin. Genma switched the toothpick in his mouth to the other side. They don't look like they're ready for what's to come, if I must say. Taking her eyes off the crystal ball, she looked at the toothpick showing the Jonin. That's why I expect you guys to get them up to speed. Is that why you placed the Rookie of the Year in Sensory Squad? Aoba asked a question that everyone wanted to ask but was afraid to. The stare she gave him unnerved him. Tsunade held it for a couple of seconds before responding. Well, the reason I put Sensuru with the squad is because I feel he is capable of teaching it. The Hyuga specializes in taijutsu. Sensuru's skills are exceptional as mine. I know this, because I've been training him in taijutsu since he could walk. Also, the boy with the lowest grades will benefit, and the Kunoichi who at best had average taijutsu skills will benefit from Sensuru. I grouped the teams based on who would be the perfect fit. For example, Anko had a female in her squad who had slightly above average ninjutsu, as well as a fiery attitude. Under Anko, I think she would benefit as well as the other team members. Does that explain why I did what I did? He nodded. Yes, I don't want you to think I was accusing you of favoring Sensuru. I was just wondering how the teams were selected. I know, Aoba. The way you asked the question illustrated that you wanted to know why I selected the teams the way I did. And now you know. You guys have about 3 hours until you meet your squads. Report to me tomorrow and give me the status on whether they passed or failed. You all are dismissed. The Junins turned around and exited her office. When they did, she leaned back in her chair to relax a little. Shizune came in with a stack of papers in her hand. She moved to the side so the exiting Jonins could pass her by. Lady Tsunade, here are some more mission requests. Shizune put the stack on her desk. Tsunade looked at Shizune and could see the girl was still tired. Shizune was one of the few people who deserved a break. Shizune, I want you to go home and go to sleep. Return back to my office at 1 p.m. I'll be assigning you a mission. Shizune decided to speak her concerns, but Lady Tsunade, who will run the hospital and who will check on my... Sakura is more than capable of handling it. Also, I'm still here if anything gets out of control for Sakura to handle, which I highly doubt. Shizune, don't worry. Now, do as I said and go home, Tsunade ordered nicely. Fine, I'll come back here at 1 p.m. for my mission. Shizune left the office. Tsunade shook her head with a smile on her face. That girl works too hard sometimes. I wish she would lighten up. Noon in the Leaf Village. Iruka walked back into the class to see the Genin sitting in their seats. He sat on the edge of his desk. The first person to walk into his class was Aoba. Aoba waved to Iruka. Hey Iruka, I'm here for Squad 3. Iruka looked at the group. Squad 3, your instructor is here. Squad 3 got up and followed Aoba out of the class. As they left the class, Iruka saw two more familiar people enter his room. One he recognized as the blood-loving Jonin Anko, and the other was the laid-back sunbone-chewing Jonin known as Genma. Iruka greeted them both. Hey Anko, hey Genma. Genma nodded his head to signify his greeting. Anko gave Iruka a big smile. Still teaching these brats, eh Iruka? I'm surprised you haven't tried to become a Jonin. I like it here. Besides, I think I'm helping the youth understand what it is to be a ninja, Iruka said to Anko with a firm belief in what he said. You can prepare them with all of this textbook stuff, but we both know that 5 minutes in the real world adds up to all of their time here, Anko said with her hand on her hip. She was hoping that Iruka would one day decide to put his skills to better use than just being a teacher. She knew Iruka would do well as a Jonin. Iruka looked at the ground knowing she was right about how the majority of the stuff in the academy that they learned would only help them a little in the real world. I know. He then looked up and smiled at Kunoichi. However, knowing just a little is better than knowing nothing at all. Anko closed her eyes and smiled. You're just as optimistic as ever, Iruka. She looked at the students. Squad 9, get your asses down here. Let's go and show them we are the greatest squad, yeah? Anko pumped her fist in the air. Everyone looked at her as if she was crazy. Genma rubbed his ear. Jeez, Anko, could you be any louder? She ignored him and waited for her squad to come. Anko and her squad then left the room. Genma turned to the students. Squad 2, let's go. The squad got up and followed him as he left the room. Iruka watched as more Jonin came into the classroom and collected their students. 10 minutes passed. Then 20, and he noticed that Squad 4 was still in the room, waiting. Southern Gate. Senju and his squad had just arrived back at Konoha. As he and his squad were walking through the gates, the guard on duty came up to him. Senju, the Hokage has ordered that you head back to the academy to pick up your Genin squad. The squad you are to pick up is Squad. He went to his pouch to get a piece of paper. 4. Izumo Kurenai, the Hokage has requested that you two brief her on the mission. Hey, what about us? Konohamaru asked the guard. He shrugged. She didn't say. I guess the rest of you are dismissed. Senju looked at the group and then disappeared in a puff of smoke. Kurenai, Kusushi, and Izumo did the same. Konohamaru turned to Moigi and Udon. Let me treat you guys to ramen. After all, it is my fault that we got on patrol duty. They both looked at each other, then at Konohamaru and nodded. Konohamaru turned his right to ask Hanabi if she wanted to join. She was no longer there. He scanned the area to see that she was about 20 feet away from him and the group. Hanabi, wait! She turned around when he yelled out her name. He ran up to her and spoke. I was trading udon and moigi to ramen. You want to come? No thanks. She turned to walk away, but he grabbed her hand, causing her to turn around to see a smile on his face. She looked down at her hand, then back at him with a frown on her face. Let go of my hand. He continued to smile at her. Nope, I'm not listening to you this time. You're coming and I won't take no for an answer. Hanabi tried to think up of an excuse to not go, but she was hard-pressed. She always wondered why Hinata would eat that stuff when it was clearly a poor man's meal. Giving in to her curiosity, she decided to join them. Okay, I'll go. I'll let go of my hand. Konohamaru was glad that she finally decided to come along with him and the others, and it showed in his facial expression. He put his arm around her shoulder. You're going to love this, Hanabi, and ramen is good with you here. This is going to be so fun. Why is your arm around me? She said in an aggravated voice, causing him to remove his arm. He smiled, then put his hands behind his head. She just shook her head. What have I gotten myself into? At the academy, Iruka was sitting on his desk, looking at the clock in the room. He could tell that Squad 4 was a little annoyed and restless. Iruka noticed that a Jonin with a black vest walked into the room. The Jonin gave a smile. Hey Iruka, long time no see. It's been a while, Sandru. How is everything? Iruka asked. It could be better, but I'm not complaining. So, that's my squad. Sandru looked at the group as he asked the question. Yes, I think they're a bit upset at having to wait on you, Iruka informed Sandru. I know, but I just got back from a week of patrol duty. Iruka understood his reason for being late. For a minute, he thought that he had another Kakashi in his hands. Sandru then turned back to his group. Squad 4, meet me on the roof. Sandru disappeared, leaving the squad behind. They got up and headed to the roof. Iruka was getting hungry. Ichiraku Ramen was his next stop. On the roof, Sandru was sitting on the metal gate. His students were sitting on the steps. He looked at the students. Okay, everyone, introduce yourselves and tell me something about you. The female of the squad raised her hand. Sensei, care to give us a demonstration? Sure, why not? My name is Sandru. My likes are, well, I have a lot of likes and only a few dislikes. Dreams for the future. Well, I achieved the dream and the jury is still out there on the second one. Hobbies, I like training and reading about different jutsus. The brunette whispered to her teammates. All we learned was his name and his hobbies. They both nodded in agreement. Sandru turned to the black-haired, blue-eyed girl. Let's start with you, miss. Okay. My name is Akuru Mogami. My likes are, she looked at the Hyuga and blushed. My dislikes are people who are annoying, and Akinu. She glared at the boy on the left of the Hyuga, who was in the middle of the two. She then looked back at Sandru. My hobby is gymnastics. My dream for the future is to be a great kunoichi, like Lady Hokage. Sandru mentally sighed. Girl likes the best student, but hates the worst, the cliche. He looked at the boy with brown hair and brown eyes, the one the girl she claimed she hated. Your turn. My name is Makinu Sujichu, and I like dango and rice. The only thing I dislike is people who act like they are better than everyone. The boy narrowed his eyes at the Hyuga. He then turned back to look at his sensei. My dream for the future is to be a good ninja and someday make Jonin. My hobby is looking at the stars. A rivalry between two male members. How original, Sandru thought to himself. He then looked at the black-haired Hyuga boy. It's your turn. My name is Ranpu Hyuga. I like some things. As for what I dislike, I don't care to talk about it. My dreams for the future are to become the best ninja I can, and surpass the strongest Hyuga. My hobby is training. He smiled at the group. Okay, I know all that I need to know about you guys. I want you all to meet me at the training ground near the Memorial Stone tomorrow at 8. We will have survival training. Don't eat breakfast, you'll throw up if you do. You guys might want to get to know each other, so use this time to do so. Have fun, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Later. Sandru disappeared, leaving them behind. The team looked at each other. Makinu was the first to begin. Where should we start? The other two looked at him without a clue either. Hokage Tower. Tsunade was in her office talking to Kurenai and Izumo. So, you guys encountered Gehoen. If I knew that his group renegades were in Fire Country, I'd have sent an envoy unit to dispatch of them. Either way, I'm glad you guys are alright. Kurenai and Izumo turned around when they heard a poof of smoke behind them. The group saw it was Sandru. Did you meet your squad already? Hokage asked. Yeah, I met them. They're interesting, to say the least. Kurenai, feeling more comfortable and a little less awkward around him, asked. So, what test do you have in mind for them? The belt test, of course, he answered as if it was the most obvious thing. He decided to change the conversation. Did you guys tell her about the missing ninja we encountered? Both Jonins nodded, giving him his answer. He looked at his mother. So, are we getting paid for an A rank or a B rank? A rank, obviously. Anyway, you are all dismissed, except you, Sandru. The Jonins filed out of Tsunade's room. She looked at her son, and told him to sit, and he did. She continued to look at him for a moment before speaking. How do you like your squad? Sandru answered honestly. I don't know, they seem okay. And the female said she wants to be a great kunoichi like you. They share the dream of becoming good ninjas, and if they pass my belt test, I'll help them just to do that. Tsunade was happy to hear that a girl from the younger generation wanted to be like her. The girl wants to be as good as me, well, she's going to have to work for it. You should tell her that, because I work damn hard to get to the level that I'm at. Sandru stood up. I would do well to remember that. Okay, go get some rest. You look tired, Tsunade said. He put up his hand as he walked out of the office. Tsunade returned looking at the mission requests that were on her desk. After an hour and a half of reading through mission requests, Shizune came into her office. Lady Tsunade, I'm reporting for my mission. I know, but I'm waiting for the rest of your team members. When Tsunade finished saying what she said, Tenten, Konohamaru, Asuma, and Tanabe walked into her office. Tsunade spoke again. Okay, now I can give you your mission. Your mission is to patrol the southern border of our country. I know you, she pointedly looked at Konohamaru, who sighed, and Hanabi just came back from there. But it's because of what you guys encountered that I'm sending you along with this unit. This caught Asuma's attention. What happened that would warrant patrolling of the southern border? Call it intuition. Sensor's group ran into the A-class missing ninja, Gehoen Mortetsu, and his group of bandits. Something about that just bothers me. It seems kind of suspicious, if you ask me. Everyone turned around to see Kakashi leaning against the wall, reading his book. Tsunade just ignored his tardiness and continued. Exactly, which is why I'm sending you guys to patrol that area. Konohamaru and Hanabi here can tell you where they encountered the ninjas. From there, you can formulate a plan. Kakashi, you are in command. You guys will be patrolling for 2 weeks. If you see any missing ninjas or potential enemy threats, eliminate them. Everyone nodded. Okay, your mission will start tomorrow. Be at the gates at 6 tomorrow morning. You all are dismissed. Everyone left her office, leaving Tsunade to her thoughts. Missing ninjas usually try to avoid patrol squads for fear of having hunter ninjas discover their location. It might have just been a coincidence, but I learned that coincidences in the world of a ninja are few and far between. Tsunade looked at the sky outside of her window and wondered what the hell was going on. Sea Country, 3 hours later. Naruto is now looking at his younger self being impaled by a Chidori, courtesy of his best friend, Sasuke Uchiha. That had hurt Naruto a lot because Sasuke had just said moments ago that he was his best friend. Naruto continued to look at the fight until it finally ended. When Kakashi carried him on his back into the hospital, he was unaware of the glares that he was receiving from the people who heard about the mission. Bastards probably blamed me for Sasuke's defection. Of course they did. You did get banished and the failure of the mission was blamed on you. Naruto heard the voice echo throughout the room. Naruto didn't answer because the voice in his head was right. He just continued looking at the memories. The scene flashed to him in his room. Kakashi came by to see him before a mission, and Tsunade and Jizune came by every day he was in the hospital. The one person he thought would visit never did. He waited for Sakura to visit, but after 4 days he was healed and discharged. That was the day that he would be forever broken. To him, Sasuke's Chidori didn't feel as bad as what Sakura said when he caught up to her. Naruto recited the line at the same time as Sakura. Save your promises for someone else. The only thing that I want you to do is to never speak to me again. I wish it was you who left and not Sasuke. That stung his heart more than anything. Sakura was a person he cared for, and yet she rejected him. The dark Naruto appeared next to him again. That silly bitch had no idea what she went through just to try and bring that traitor back. Well, it doesn't matter, because I'm sure you remember the meeting with the council. Naruto found himself in front of his younger self in the council of Konoha. Naruto Uzumaki, it is because of your actions that members of your team were heavily injured. From the notes that we have collected from Shikamaru's mission report and reports from one, Rock Lee, you deliberately left them behind to pursue Sasuke Uchiha. Well, you failed to return to the leaf safely. Many were injured because of your actions. Koharu gave him a smug look. Shikamaru spoke. It is true that my statement said that Naruto left to go after Sasuke, but it was because I ordered him to do so. Naruto isn't in the wrong here. He followed the orders of his superior officer. That isn't the issue here. Uzumaki's disregard for his friend's safety is the issue. We have been discussing this for some time, and we have only one solution, Yashi stated. Younger Naruto sighed. I guess I won't be going on missions for quite some time. Tsunade was trying to hold back her emotions. Naruto, my council has overridden me, and has come to the decision that you are to be exiled indefinitely. Naruto was in complete and utter shock. Jiraiya blew up. This is preposterous. This kid was a major contributor in the victory of the Sand/Sound invasion. He is still saving your lives now as we speak. He is a hero and you want to kick him out of the village that he has saved? I thought I'd never see the day. Homura gave Jiraiya a disdainful look. It is also because of him, the last of the Uchiha clan, made it safely to the Sound. There is nothing you can do, Jiraiya. This boy is no longer a citizen of Konoha, or a ninja of our village. He is free to do what he likes. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade, who put her head down. He then turned to look at the council members. He was about to say something when 12-year-old Naruto spoke in a soft, low voice, accepting his defeat. How long do I have before I have to leave? Koharu and the rest of the council smiled. You have 2 days. Younger Naruto got up and walked out of the room, leaving behind everyone with tears brimming in his eyes. Naruto looked at his younger self. I told myself that would be the last time that I would ever cry. And it was. You become strong off of your hate. If anything, you should thank the village for making you into what you are today, the voice echoed again. Naruto found himself flashing forward to the day he had to leave. He saw himself walking into the Hokage Tower and giving Tsunade back her necklace. He saw the sad look on her face. He also remembered Pervy Sage giving him some scrolls and telling him to find him when he wanted to train. Before he even set foot into Tsunade's office, he went to the academy and placed Uruka's headband on his desk. He decided it was better to leave this way. Naruto felt the glares and looks of satisfaction on the faces of the citizens he passed. They were getting what they wanted. He, on the other hand, was losing a dream and a reason for fighting. Naruto continued to look at his younger self until everything faded away. He found himself back in the light room with his darker self. Dark Naruto stepped forward. Tell me, Naruto, who do you hate more? Who really makes you angry? Dark Naruto transformed into the lady at the orphanage. Is it me? He then transformed into the ninja who tried to kill him on his 10th birthday. Kill me if you can, demon. He transformed into one of the parents holding their child away from him. Don't get any closer, demon. He then transformed into Hiyashi. Pathetic. Goharu followed. You will talk to us with respect. He then morphed into Hamura. You will not bully us. Then he transformed into Kakashi. I have to help Sasuke. He quickly changed to Sakura. You're so annoying. Naruto clenched his fist when he saw her face. He clenched it tighter when he transformed into Sasuke. Don't get in my way, dead last. The final person made Naruto clench his fist so hard that he drew blood. He transformed into the 4th. He was officially about to lose it. On the outside, Ryuho and a large portion of the clan were looking on. Ryuho got nervous when he noticed that Naruto's left hand let go of the sword. Ryuho continued to look at Naruto's right hand. If that hand fell off the sword, then this test was over. Naruto would never wield the blade. Come on, Naruto, don't give in. Fight whatever it is. Hayami saw the concern on her father's face. She looked at him for a minute before turning back to look at Naruto. Everybody gasped when Naruto dropped to one knee. His right hand was on the sword, but his grip was loosening. Only his fingertips were on the sword now. Ryuho couldn't believe it. Naruto was so close, and he didn't want to admit it, but Naruto was about to fail. Naruto was in his mind, holding the 4th by his collar with his left hand, while his right hand was balled up into a fist. The darker Naruto in the 4th form gave a sinister smile. Do it. I'm the reason why the village hates you, and the reason that no one will ever care for you. Naruto swung at his head. On the outside, the tips of his fingers were moving off of the sword. His pinky was the first off, followed by his ring finger, which was preceded by his middle finger. His index finger was the only finger touching the sword. It was slipping, but just when I was nearly off the sword, it stopped. On the outside, Naruto's fist stopped inches away from the face, causing the smirk on the face of Dark Naruto to drop. His eyes narrowed. Why did you stop? Don't you want revenge for what I did? Naruto dropped him. He looked at his darker self before speaking. Yes, at one time, I did want revenge, but I no longer do. I used to think that no one would ever care for me, but I was wrong then, and you are wrong now. Oh really? Tell me, who would ever care for you? Darker Naruto said in a mocking tone. Naruto smiled and answered. A simple swordsman in the mist. On the outside, his middle finger went back on the handle. Granny Hokage and Pervy Sage. The ring finger returned back to the handle again. The academy teacher who almost died protected me from a windmill shuriken. The pinky touched the handle once more. A bridge builder, his daughter, her brave son, and everybody in Wave Country. His hand closed around the sword with a loose grip. The mother and father that I never had but always wanted. Ryuho and Kiori were standing next to each other looking at Naruto. His grip on the sword tightened slightly. My little sister, who helped me more than she'll ever know. Hayami was gripping the bar, never taking her eyes off of Naruto. The grip tightened some more, and he started to stand up. But most of all, the woman that I love with all of my heart, who loves me equally, is one of the many people that care for me. He was now gripping the sword as hard as he possibly could. He stepped towards his darker self. You were right about one thing. You are a part of me, which is something I can't, nor do I want to change. You are one of the many parts of my heart that gives me the strength necessary to protect my loved ones. The demon sealed inside of me is a monster, and if I give in to you completely, I would be no better than him. I'm not a monster. I am Naruto Uzumaki, big brother, husband-to-be, grandson, student, son, friend, and a hero in a land that once had a hero. I am grateful for the people that allow me to hold these titles, and for them, I will bring my wrath on all of those who bring them harm. Evil Naruto smiled at him. Well said. Naruto noticed two things. 1. His darker side faded away, and 2. A white light engulfed the white room around him. Naruto didn't know what was going on, but before he could do anything, he was engulfed in the light. The white light faded, and Naruto found himself back in the throne room, still holding the sword. Naruto gripped the sword tighter, realizing what just happened. He then started to pull the sword out of the center of the pillar. He felt the sword was coming up slowly. Naruto continued to tug, but since it was putting a strain on his body, he let out a howl. His body started to glow white. In one final scream, the bright light radiating from Naruto and the sword lit up, effectively blinding everyone in the room. Ryuho looked to see what had happened. Everyone was on the balcony, waiting in anticipation. When light cleared, everyone saw Naruto. He held the sword in his right hand. Ryuho and Kaori smiled. Shinji nodded, acknowledging Naruto's accomplishment. The room was completely quiet. Everyone was still absorbing the shock of it all. Yami broke the silence with the sound of her feet hitting the floor. She ran down the stairs toward the fatigued-looking Naruto. She finally got Naruto, who had a thin, white outline glow over his body, and the sword. When he looked at her, the glow died down. He smiled at the girl, and then placed his left hand on her head. Piece of cake. Naruto's eyes rolled in the back of his head. He fell backwards, landing hard on the floor. Hayami got nervous and dropped down right next to him. Ryuho, Shinji, and other members of the family appeared around him. In an instant, Ryuho knelt down next to his daughter and looked at Naruto from head to toe. He put his hand on her shoulders, causing her to look at him with worried eyes. Don't worry, honey. Naruto's okay. He just passed out because he went a week without water and food. Ryuho looked up to one of his clan members. Go into town and bring the doctor here immediately. The man ran out of the room and did as Ryuho said. Ryuho looked at Shinji. Shinji, take him to his room. He grabbed a sword, while Shinji grabbed Naruto. Everyone started to follow Shinji as he left the room, with Naruto over his shoulder. When everyone was gone, Ryuho and Kaori were the only ones in the room. He was holding the sword in his hand, giving it one last look over. She put her hand on his shoulder and gave him a warm smile. He returned the smile. Then he returned his gaze back to the sword. This sword has been at my side for 20 plus years. I remember my trials like they were yesterday. I'm glad that Naruto is the wielder of the sword. The blade has found a great successor. He looked back at his wife. Who would have thought that the kid that I met 4 years ago would become my successor? He looked up to the sky. Minato, I only wish you were here to see the man that your son has become. You would have been proud. Ryuho looked back at his wife and grabbed her hand. He led her out of the room with the sword in his hand. His next step was the room of a certain blonde, who was now the blade's wielder. 4 hours later, location unknown. Hinata and Naya were sitting on a large rock in the backyard. The sun had set, revealing the ocean and the sky that was inhabited with stars and distant planets. Their day was done. It was 8 o'clock and the two women were exhausted. Naya looked over at Hinata, who was looking into the vast phenomenon that was space. Hinata, this sparring session was a great one. You are getting better. I can't really judge your jukin, but I can judge my style, and I must say that you are adapting to it rather quickly. Thank you, Nai-sensei. Your style has made my movements more fluid, making my jukin more effective. I just wish my father and the council would see that incorporating other styles than the jukin would make it more effective, Hinata said while looking at the woman. A good ninja masters what they have and uses it to their fullest. That is the category that your father, your clan, and most clans fall in. However, great ninjas master what they have, and look for ways to improve it and add more to it. You Hinata fall into the category of potentially a great ninja. The potential is there. The only thing holding you back is your confidence. I can see that it has improved during your week here, but you're still hesitant, and that is never good. Once you start believing in your abilities completely, there is no doubt in my mind that you'll become one of the top ninjas in the Leaf. Nyce stood up. Well, we're done for today. Let's go get dinner. We have another long day ahead of us. Hinata got up and followed her sensei. Both women entered the house, leaving behind a tattered yard in sea country. Naruto's eyes opened slowly, adjusting to his surroundings. He sat up slowly and was greeted by a smiling Hayami. Big brother Naruto, you did it! I told father you were going to do it. I'm so glad. Naruto looked at the little girl for a moment, then at Shinji, who was leaning against the wall. Where is Ryuho-sensei? Shinji spoke. He's in a meeting with the council. He should be here soon. How are you feeling, Naruto? Weak, Naruto answered honestly. Well, you have been down there for a week. You must have had a lot of anger and hatred in your heart to be there for that long, Shinji stated. Naruto smiled, and then looked at Hayami. He then placed his hand on her head. I did, but thanks to certain people, it didn't consume me. Shinji pushed off the wall he was leaning on and walked to the door, where he stopped at the exit. He turned and looked back at Naruto. Congratulations on passing the test. Maybe if I didn't give in to hatred, I would be the wielder. It wasn't meant to be, but if I had to pick anyone instead of myself, you would always be my number one choice. Get some rest, so you can get your strength back. Naruto nodded. He then looked at Hayami. He said I was down there for a week. Was it really that long? Yes, father stayed the whole time. Mother and I came by every day, as well as a large number of the clan. Everyone was rooting for you. I didn't have to because I knew you were going to do it, the girl informed him. Of course I was going to do it. I never go back on my word. It's my ninja way, Naruto said in a cocky and slightly elevated voice. The girl quirked her eyebrow and asked, Big brother, what is a nindo? Naruto leaned back, using his hands as support. Nindo is your way of the ninja. It's basically the path in life that you choose to follow. My nindo is to never go back on my word. If I say something I'm going to do, I will do it or die trying. Do you understand what nindo is now? The girl put her hand on her hip, with her eyes cast to the side, thinking about Naruto's question. Yes, I think I understand. It is similar to Samurai's Bushido. I like your nindo, big brother Naruto. I'll have the same nindo as well, but it'll be my Bushido. Naruto stopped leaning on his hands and sat back up. Yami, when it comes down to it, Bushido and nindo are the same thing. It's what you make of it. However, I don't want you to make my nindo yours. Not until you have experienced life more and find a path that you truly wish to go down. If you choose the path that I have chosen, then it's fine, but try to see if you can find a better path to follow. I think I can do that, but I really like yours. Okay, I got it. My Bushido will be to never give up, no matter what. Yep, that will be my way of the warrior, the girl said. Sure happy with her newfound Bushido. Naruto rubbed the girl's head. That is a fine Bushido, Hayami. I still think you're too young to be worrying about that sort of thing, but it is still a fine Bushido. Kiori interrupted the two by saying, I see you're up. The two looked at the door. Mom, Hayami said with excitement. Naruto walked up to her daughter. Hayami, Mommy needs to speak to your big brother for a bit in private. Would you mind giving us some time alone? What am I supposed to do then? The girl complained. Well, your cousins are practicing the dojo. You should go practice with them. You can show off the moves you've been working on with your father. The mother baited the girl, hoping she would take it. That's true, but they're older and better than me. They would just beat me. The girl's shoulders drooped. That doesn't sound like the person who just claimed that her Bushido is to never give up. What I'm hearing is a person who already gave up and is accepting defeat. Naruto gazed upon the girl with a smirk on his face. She returned the grin with a Cheshire smile. That's right, I did say that. Well, I guess I'll go and give it my all. Later, big brother Naruto. Her mother ran to the door and yelled out at the girl who was running down the hall. You only have an hour to practice. I want you preparing for bed in another hour, young lady. The girl waved her hand, acknowledging what her mother said. She then turned the corner, disappearing from her view. She then turned away from the door and sat on the edge of the bed. I'm glad to see you're up. When Shinji told me you were up, I had a meal prepared for you. Someone should be here within 20 minutes. Thanks, Kaori. Naruto's expression showed his gratitude. She gave him a concerned look. She moved closer. From hearing Ryuho's stories about what the third test was like for him, I can only imagine how hard it was for you, considering your past and all. He said most lasted 2 days, but yours went on for a week. Was it really that bad, Naruto? Naruto gave her a sad smile. Imagine the worst thing that has ever happened to you and multiply that by 100. I had to relive the worst experiences in my life. Now that I hear that you say that the test was supposed to last 2 days max, but mine went on for a week, and that is proof to say that my life story isn't for the faint heart. There's no denying that I had it rough, but it made me who I am. She looked at the bed, avoiding eye contact. She couldn't bring herself to look in his eyes. She knew that they were filled with pain and sadness, but she needed to know. She slowly looked back at him. How did you deal with that? A lot of people would have given in. I can only imagine what life was like for you. You had every reason to give in and be angry. Why didn't you? I know I would have probably sought vengeance. Naruto's eyes closed and his lips curved up. He then opened his eyes. Yes, I did want revenge. In fact, I'm still not too fond of the village. I wanted to prove to everyone in the leaf that I was worth something. That tossing me aside was the biggest mistake ever. But then I met Kaito-sensei, you, Riho-sensei, Hayami, and Yumi. Hayami, even though she doesn't know it, she helped me more than she'll ever know. She helped me realize that it was okay to lower my guard and let people in. The only people I trusted before I met you guys were Jiraiya and Kaito-sensei. I was betrayed and hurt much in my life, and I didn't want to be hurt again. So I started to become cold and emotionally closed off. She helped me learn how to open up and care for others without worrying about being hurt. I realized that I didn't need revenge just to prove a point. Do you remember the night I told her about my life story? Yes, I was outside the door. After I finished the story, she said she would be my friend, despite my tenant. She also hugged me and told me she loved me. She was the first to say that to me. I realized that being loved by one person was a better feeling than anything revenge could offer. I remember her saying that she wished she found happiness. Well, Kaori, I did that night. Naruto said letting Kaori understand him a little more than before. Naruto continued. She wasn't the only one that accepted me, you know. You also accepted me. For the first time, I felt like I belonged. You and your family gave me that, and for that I am grateful. Kaori gave Naruto a genuine smile. My fiancé and her mother were the next to accept me for who I was. When I told her about the fox, she cried, you know. I knew her tears weren't for disappointment. She was crying for me. She also said it changed nothing. During the trial, memories of my past were conjured up, and the dark side of me was trying to convince me it would be better to get vengeance on everyone that ever did me wrong. But it's like I told you. I found something that revenge couldn't and wouldn't offer. I found people who loved me and accepted me. Kaori was moved by Naruto's words. She knew that the boy was physically strong, but she had no idea that he was mentally and emotionally strong as well. She also saw that under all of this overconfidence, rudeness, and horrid manners was the heart of a good person. She leaned forward and gave him a hug. This caught him off guard, but not as much as her next move. She kissed him on the cheek. She pulled away and smiled at the boy. I'm proud of you, Naruto. She stood up, causing his eyes to follow hers. I also want to make this Yumi. I have to see if this woman is good enough to marry my son. Naruto's eyes widened at that statement. Seconds later, his lips curved up, forming a U shape. He nodded. I'll be sure to bring her to meet you guys. Before she walked out of the room, she told him to get some rest after he ate. Naruto sitting up, thinking about what she said. I have to see if this woman is good enough to marry my son. Did she really say that? Does she see me as a son? Naruto knew that if she said it, then she meant it. Kaori always meant what she said. He was torn from his thoughts when a young female came by with some rice and chicken, with broccoli for him to eat. The girl handed him the food, with a blush on her face. She then hurried out of the room. Naruto paid her no mind. His mind was on the food before him. The Kyuubi container wasted no time in disposing that food into his mouth. In Konoha, Senju was standing on top of the Hokage monument, looking down at the citizens as they went by about their daily routines. When he was in the village, he almost never did this, but he liked it. For some reason, it was calm and relaxing up here. He heard light footsteps coming his way. He didn't even turn around to know who it was. I heard you got patrol duty. Asuma pulled out a cigarette and put it in his mouth. He lit a cigarette, and after a deep pull, he exhaled all the smoke. Yeah, Lady Tsunade believes that it wasn't a coincidence that you guys ran into Kohen. She's sending Kakashi, Shizune, Konohamaru, Hanabi, Tenten, and me. She wants us to patrol for 2 weeks. After the exchange of words, the two stayed quiet, both wanting to say something to the other, but couldn't find the words to say it. Asuma wanted to tell his friend that he was glad he was back, but he had no intentions of letting Kurenai go. Senju wanted to tell Asuma that he still wanted to pursue Kurenai, but how could he? He didn't want to ruin what they have, but he wanted to recapture what they had. Both men were torn. Asuma was the first to break the ice. You met your Genin squad today. What was it like? Senju, glad that his friend freed him from his thoughts, began to answer. They are interesting. I really can't say for sure how good they'll be, but only time will tell. I just hope they'll pass the bell test. Asuma laughed at the memory of his own bell test. Like many before him, he failed to realize the true purpose of the test. You know that they're going to fail, right? I know. I just hope they pass the second test I gave them to redeem themselves. But you never know. They might pass the first test. Though I'm not very optimistic about that, Senju said truthfully. The two became quiet again. Senju decided to speak. He just had to. Look, Asuma, I know about you and Kurenai, and I'm happy for you guys. The truth is, I still have feelings for her. However, I won't come between what you two have now. I don't want any bad blood between us over this. I feel the same way. I know how much you care about her, but I care about her too. Staring at the night sky, the sole signer of the Phoenix contract responded in a low voice. I know. This is why I'm backing off. She deserves to be happy, and if it means not being with me, then so be it. Just take care of her. Senju touched his friend's shoulder before walking off, leaving the cigarette-addicted Jonin by himself on the monument. Asuma looked at Senju's back as he walked away with soft eyes. It must have hurt you to do what you just did. Don't worry, friend. I will take care of her. Asuma continued to watch his friend walk away, until he faded in the shadows of the night. Asuma took one more puff of his cigarette, then flicked it to the side. He decided to go see Kurenai. He hadn't seen her all week, and it would be the last time he would see her for about 2 weeks. The Jonin walked off, heading to the home of the woman that he loved. Senju headed to the shop that he and his mother were at about a week ago. He needed something to drink. He was so deep into thinking about what he just did, and he was trying to convince himself that what he did was for the best. And he didn't notice a beautiful woman with purple hair was tapping him. He looked up to see who it was. You're Senju, right? He nodded. She gave him a warm smile. My name is Yugao Uzuki. She instantly realized that something was troubling him. Yugao usually kept to herself and tried to stay out of people's busyness. The only reason why she came over was because she just wanted to say hi to her fellow Leaf Ninja and introduce herself. But her curiosity got the best of her, and she wanted to know what was troubling the man. Mind if I sit? No, I don't mind. She could hear the sadness in his voice. Is there something troubling you, if you don't mind me asking? Senju took his eyes off of his drink and made eye contact with the girl. Have you ever been in love with someone and you didn't want to let them go, even though you knew it would be for the best? She knew all too well. Sorrow flashed into her eyes, giving him his answer. So, you do know. It's hard, isn't it? Yes, it is, she responded with her eyes downcast. Suddenly, her eyes made contact as a smile graced her lips. But it hurts less with time. I used to believe for a long time that I would never find someone like the one I lost. And it's true, I won't, and neither will you. However, that doesn't mean that there isn't someone out there for us. It's that hope that allowed me to move on, but to never forget what I had. They say it's better to love it and lost than to have ever loved at all, you know? So I hear. Would you like something to drink, Yugao? He asked. Being polite, she turned him down. She stood up. Thanks for the offer, but I have a mission tomorrow morning. Senju decided it was time he headed out as well. He also had a long day ahead of him. He decided to do what a gentleman would do. Let me walk you home. The girl waved her hand in front of her. I can't let you do that. Okage's mansion is in the opposite direction. It's not a problem, shall we? He asked, waiting for a response. She nodded. Okay, if it isn't a problem for you. The two walked out of the restaurant, heading in the opposite direction of the Hokage Tower. Senju was definitely feeling down, but what Yugao said was true. He loved Kurenai, and still did. That much he knew. But believing that there was someone else out there for you wasn't a bad way to look at things. He looked at Yugao, who was oblivious to his gaze. He then turned and looked ahead of him. Not a bad way to look at things at all.